Chapter 7.4 Yana and Anna. The sun had set, and in the dark of night, Retta returned to the Blue Oyster Star Dock. It shined with opalescent brilliance, unlike the Rust Bucket junk dog. The junk dog's hangar was open, and inside were the new ships that Sydney supplied. Yana was tweaking one with a sky blue body, pastel yellow accents, and exposed wiring that mimicked the vines and thorns of roses. Retta was impressed and walked in. "Whoa, nice ship." Yana was as standoffish as usual. "Thanks." She floated on a hoverboard, with a toolbox above the wing, a messy assortment of haphazardly thrown tools, and her greasy hands nestled within the thrusters as she tinkered. "Getting ready for the race?" "Yeah." "Are you guys going to practice tomorrow?" "Yep." Yana gave the bare minimum response. "All right, then." Red knew Yana didn't want to talk. She kept moving, walked past Yana, but stopped. She felt her curiosity pull her to stay. It wanted to know why Yana was in that photo with Sydney. Retta took a deep breath, tried exercising tact, but the words just slipped from her lips. "Hey, Yana, how do you know Sydney?" Tact flew out the window. "We just met before." "'Cause I found this photo." Retta walked below Yana, flicked her link into her hand, and held up the picture. "I didn't know you had long hair when you were with him." That caught Yana's attention. Her head twisted like a hawk. She immediately kicked the hoverboard switch and descended. She leaned lower, got a closer look, and her eyes went wide. "Where'd you find that?" Yana asked, hopped off her hoverboard, and immediately became hostile. "He was in Sydney's ship." "Delete that." No. "Delete it, Red." Yana snatched at the link, but Retta pulled away and stepped back. "No, Yana, what's with you?" "I don't want a trace of me with that two-face." She clawed at the link again. "Yana, stop," Retta said, grabbed Yana's hand, and felt a warm surge pulse through her arm as the baton glowed. Retta looked at Yana, and Yana's pupils grew large and black. The pupils dilated beyond the iris, spilled out the edges, and the black pooled around them, swallowing them, in reality, whole. Retta entered Yana's memories, inside an infinite darkness, but it looked different from Karada's mind. Unlike Karada, Yana's door was far off in the distance of the black expanse, with two massive thrusters flanking it. As Retta approached, the engines opened like metal flowers, blossoming large, petal-like plates, with a black disk at the center. It glowed, and then burned red-hot. Inner turbines spun, hot geysers of wind shot forward, and the engines repelled Retta with scorching heat. She covered her eyes, shielded herself with her arm, and the baton glowed bright. It surrounded Retta in an aura that tempered the heat, but the inferno still made each step grueling. "What's she hiding?" Beads of sweat singed and burned Retta's eyes. The blistering heat made it hard to breathe. Her muscles cramped, her legs grew stiff and rigid, but Red fought until she was just within the door's reach. With the knob only inches away, Retta covered her face with the baton, twisted the knob, and barreled through the door. She tumbled through, looked back, and saw the hot exhaust sear the air itself behind her. The door shut. Retta turned, and Red was inside one of Yana's memories, far away from Sunstra's tropical beaches. Skyscrapers towered to dazzling heights, neon lined the streets, and holograms floated between buildings. The sky went unseen, hidden beneath thousands of skiffs, billboards, and advertising. The streets were buzzing with speeding skiffs, so fast that all Retta saw were whizzing headlights and blurred afterimages. It was electric, it was exhilarating, and it was one of the most amazing things Retta had ever seen. This must be the outer reach. The baton pulsed. Retta followed its glow, and when she turned, she saw a beat-down jalopy of a skiff beside her on the lonely street. Red leaned closer, looked through the window, and inside, saw Yana. She was reclined back, with a magazine covering her eyes and her two boots kicked up on the dash. They were atop a pile of knickknacks, what looked like odds and ends she won from races. 3 pairs of the same sunglasses, a laser knife, 2 hula dancers, and fuzzy dice. They were meager, but they were still trophies. Retta went to knock on the window, but was interrupted as the sun crested the horizon. Sunlight poured through the buildings. Daybreak glinted off their glass, and its light blinded Red. She covered her eyes, squinted, and as she did, something felt different. She reached for her eyes, pulled down a magazine, and when she blinked, she found herself looking through Yana's eyes. It's just like Karada, Retta thought. I'm seeing her memories. Yana grumbled, covered her eyes with the magazine again, and went back to sleep, leaving Retta a prisoner in Yana's mind. Hey, Red thought, but Yana didn't hear her. Come on, wake up. Don't let me stay trapped in here. Had it been Yana's choice, she would have slept in all day. Daybreak meant nothing to Yana, but to her sister, it was time to rise. Yana felt her sister poke and prod at her, nudging her, like every other day, to stop dreaming and get up. Yana mumbled and rolled over to her side. A few more minutes, Anna. Anna nabbed the magazine off Yana's face, and the glaring sunlight made Yana squint. She covered her eyes, pulled down the visor, and a tiny picture fluttered out and fell into her lap. It was a tiny portrait Yana painted of Sydney Starshot. Hey, are you trying to run away? Yana grabbed it and brought it back to the sun visor. Better not, 'cause I'm gonna catch you. She clipped Sydney's portrait right beside her mirror and caught a glimpse of herself in the reflection. Yana ran the warm fingers of her right hand through her long, black, and knotted straight hair. It was a self-inflicted mess, and Yana pulled and tugged the knots apart. Ugh, I need a haircut, she said both to herself in the mirror and her portrait of Sydney. Looking at him couldn't help but make her smile, which is exactly why she had to practice her smolder. He was cool, calm, confident. Yana was none of those things, but that's exactly how she wanted to be. She looked at the stoic painting of Sydney, then back at her reflection, then back at Sydney. She tried to mimic his natural cool, mysterious aura. It wasn't working. It never worked. Yana always saw through herself in the mirror. Her fake cool barely veiled the self-doubt in her eyes. A stoic face didn't hide her anxiety inside. Her throat tightened, her stomach squeezed, and her own thoughts betrayed her, reminding her over and over. Pathetic. Pathetic. You look pathetic. Just sad and pathetic. Who am I kidding? She whispered to herself and looked at how pitiful she looked compared to him. I'm just making faces. The anxiety came again. It crashed against the knots in her stomach. She flipped up the mirror and turned away. She didn't want to see her own face again. Yana closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and when she looked again, her sister was inches from her face, with a large, beaming smile. Anna always had a sweet, blissful ignorance. She was pure, easily fascinated, and never lost her childlike whimsy, despite her and Yana being the same age. Anna just smiled and clapped her two hands together with pure joy. And when Anna smiled like that, Yana couldn't help but smile too. Thanks, Anna. Outside the passenger window, behind Anna, Yana saw a skiff pull up to their ship. It was a junker, patched up and stitched together. Body panels were different colored metals. Exhausts were chrome on one side, copper on the other. It was a hack job and a half. Junkers were ugly as sin, but Yana learned to never underestimate a junker skiff's speed. The door opened, grating on its rusty hinges, and slammed shut as a splicer stepped out of his skiff. Half his face was replaced by metal, but by the looks of it, he couldn't afford much. The chrome was dull, and the metal shaping was simple and non-anatomical, with no replacement for the eye. It looked like a homebrew job, and a bad one at that. He slammed a heavy hand atop the roof of Yana's skiff, bent over, and showed his face through Anna's window. So, you're the girl, eh? Heard you whipped Marco pretty good. Heard right. She kept her face squared with his and wore a cocky smile. In one swift motion, Yana pulled her tiny portrait of Sydney from her visor and tucked it in her bra, cradled by her heart. It was instinctual when she needed confidence. Who are you? Janice. Oh, sorry, Miss Janice. Based on your ugly face, I thought you were a man. I am a... He caught the bait early, easily antagonized by a throwaway comment. But Janus caught himself mid-tantrum and took a deep breath to calm himself.
All right, wise ass. My turn to show you up. Race you from here to the edge of the outer reach.
Yeah? What are you betting? She felt the adrenaline coursing through her. Her foot bounced up and down with vicious intensity. Her eyes widened, and she tried to use that breathing technique she was supposed to use to calm down. But she loved feeling her chest tighten.
Step out, and I'll show you.
He backed away, returned to his skiff, and Yana was already hooked. She stepped out, and Anna followed, as excited as a puppy getting out of the car. Janus's skiff, at least from outer appearance, was as much a junk bucket as she expected, but something inside caught Anna's eye. Her mouth went agape. She twisted back to Yana so fast she almost snapped her neck, and she pointed at the window with joyful glee. What is it? Yana said to her sister, stepped towards the window with her, and looked at the tech inside. It wasn't a pretty sight. The leather seat was frayed, the faux lining flaked off, and cracked glass vials made the floor a hazard to bare feet. But in the center console were 3 wires with metal prongs that connected directly to the dash. What is that? Before Yana could finish her sentence, Anna pressed her wide-brimmed, flat nose against the glass, her chubby cheeks flattening against it too, and the warm breath from her mouth condensated on the window as she stared wide-eyed at the tech inside. All right, I know you want to tinker, but...
Hey!
The splicer yelled.
Get that retard away from my ship!
Yana was triggered. The adrenaline rushed to her head. She felt her blood boil. Heat emanated from her temples, and her vision blurred as she blacked out in rage. She passed through consciousness without a trace, and by the time she collected herself, she already had the splicer's neck in her death grip, squeezing his throat and digging her nails into his skin.
Say that again. Call her a retard again. I dare you.
Yana was screaming at the splicer, unafraid of the man twice her size. But from behind, she felt Anna tug at her shoulder, pulling Yana away from Janus. She tugged, and when Yana looked back from her rage, she saw tears welling in Anna's eyes as she shook her head to let Janus go. Yana released her grip, and he stumbled back.
Don't talk about my sister like that again,
Yana said, disappointed that she let herself lose control again, and she took a deep breath, practicing the breathing exercises she was supposed to do. The man coughed, with his face red, and rubbed his hand against the distended veins in his neck.
Jeez, relax. She doesn't even look like you.
She's... Yana wanted to fight back, but controlled herself and took a breath since the fight was over. Anna already moved on from the comment and returned to her fascination with the ship.
Looks like your sister likes the tech.
Janus looked past Yana and at her ship.
And I like your ship. Tell you what, I'll wager my tech in there if you wager your ship.
What is your tech?
A Neuralink. Could get the most precise piloting with it by hooking it directly to your nervous system.
Directly?
I'll show you.
Janus moved to his ship, and Yana gently pulled Anna away. He sat inside and grabbed the metal wire prongs. He raised them up to 3 sockets in the side of his face. The wires snapped into place, and the ship illuminated with energy and blue lights. Anna clapped, excited and amazed by the tech. She was a natural tinkerer, but she'd never seen anything like this before. Whoa, Yana said. Shame it's wasted on a splicer like you.
It's not wasted,
the man yelled, and the lights changed from blue to red. The engine roared, and the ship jolted a bit in place. He took a deep breath, calming himself and calming the ship down.
Only thing it'd be wasted on is you, with that hot head of yours.
Well, let's see if this hothead can beat you in a race.
To the edge of the outer reach, then.
You're on. Yana got back in her skiff, and Anna happily skipped to the passenger seat. She loved a good race.